Unprecedented describes most things about the Donald Trump administration. One unique element, the presence of the president's daughter, Ivanka Trump, and her relationship to First Lady Melania Trump. Glamorous stepmother and stepdaughter since 2005, but it was 2016 during the Trump presidential campaign.
My father, Donald J. Trump.
When the dynamic between the two women shifted to politics. Most times on the campaign trail,
Hello, Iowa.
Melania Trump not interested in doing traditional spousal appearances. So it was Ivanka Trump, as surrogate, who stepped into the role.
I just want to thank you, honey, because great job.
Staying on as the female face of the administration and the family after Trump became president.
This is the first U.S. government, all of government, approach to empowering women in the developing world.
Hi all, it's Adam here. You are not going to believe what is trending right now. Ivanka Trump has spoken publicly about her father's safety, expressing genuine fear for his life in the wake of the 2024 assassination attempt. And the internet has taken those real, emotional statements and run them through the viral content machine until they came out the other side as dramatic death warnings that bear almost no resemblance to anything she actually said.
Donald Trump recently made a telling joke. Some people actually thought he was half serious when he said he briefly considered picking his daughter Ivanka for vice president. She's often referred to as his secret weapon. Her siblings say she is her father's favorite. And tonight she sits down with ABC's Lara Spencer for our series, Being Trump.
This is a big moment. Are you nervous?
I'm terrified. I'm excited.
She's been called her father's secret weapon, one of his most trusted advisors. Now, Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka is poised to take the spotlight, introducing him Thursday night at the Republican National Convention in Cleveland.
Has Dad given you any input on what he'd like you to say, or is he leaving it up to you?
He's totally left it up to me. I wish he'd give me input.
Right.
But I think he wants it to come from my heart. He says, don't worry, you'll do a great job.
This is the perfect example of how political content gets manufactured in 2026. A real story with real emotional weight gets stripped of context, stretched beyond recognition, and repackaged as clickbait designed to make you feel something urgent, whether the facts support it or not. Let's start with what Ivanka actually said, because that matters.
It was just over a year ago that you announced your father's presidential bid.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you today a man who I have loved and respected.
What has this year been like for you?
It's almost impossible to describe, to meet so many people, to hear their enthusiasm for his candidacy.
Ivanka has never been shy about her love and admiration for her father and family.
After the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt in July 2024, when a gunman opened fire at a Trump rally, grazed the former president, and killed an attendee,
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Ivanka posted publicly for the first time about the terror of watching her father nearly die on live television. She said she believed her late mother, Ivanka Trump, who passed away in 2022, was watching over Donald during the shooting. She thanked people for their prayers. She described the violence as senseless. And she said she was praying for the safety of the family and friends her mother left behind. Those are the raw, unfiltered words of a daughter who just watched her father almost get killed and was processing that horror in real time while the world watched. That is a real story. It has genuine emotional weight. It tells you something authentic about Ivanka's relationship with her father and the fear she carries about the world he inhabits. And it deserves to be treated with accuracy and respect. But that is not what the viral content ecosystem delivered. Instead, we got YouTube videos with titles like Ivanka Trump just warned about Trump's death and Trump's worst fear hits as Ivanka ditches her dad. thumbnails with dramatic red text over photos of Ivanka looking serious, narration that takes her real statements and layers speculative commentary on top until the original meaning is completely buried under a narrative the creator invented. These videos are not news. They are not based on new verified statements from Ivanka or her representatives. They are commentary pieces that splice together old clips, social media posts from over a year ago, interview quotes pulled out of context, and speculative narration engineered to generate clicks, watch time, and shares. The people making them are not fabricating everything from scratch. Ivanka really did say she fears for her father. Ivanka really did post about the assassination attempt in raw emotional language. Ivanka really has described politics as dark and toxic. All of that exists and can be verified. What these creators are doing is taking those real elements and stretching them far beyond what they actually mean to support a dramatic narrative the raw material simply does not support. So let's go through what Ivanka has actually said when she said it, and what the real context was at each moment. Because the truth here is genuinely interesting on its own terms, without any manufactured drama layered on top. The most significant statement came directly after the July 2024 assassination attempt. In those first chaotic hours, with no certainty about whether her father was alive, critically wounded, or dead, Ivanka posted that she believed her late mother was watching over Donald during the attempt on his life. She framed his survival not as luck or security professionalism, but as something carrying deeper significance connected to her mother's ongoing presence. That is the kind of meaning-making language people reach for instinctively when they have just lived through a near miss of that magnitude. She thanked people for their love and prayers, described the violence as senseless, and said she was praying for the safety of the family her mother left behind. That formulation weaves together her grief over her mother, her fear for her father's life, and her awareness that the whole family exists in a state of ongoing vulnerability. Those statements are genuinely moving and genuinely revealing about where Ivanka is emotionally. What they are not, under any fair reading, is a warning that Trump is going to die, a prediction of imminent danger, or evidence that Ivanka possesses inside knowledge about threats she is leaking to the public through coded messages. They are the words of a daughter who lost her mother and then watched her father nearly get assassinated on live television. Ivanka's earlier statements about fearing for her father's safety go back to the 2016 campaign, well before the assassination attempt made those fears concrete. She gave interviews describing persistent worry about his security, saying his positions and visibility had made him a target in ways that exceeded normal baseline risk. That language reflects genuine concern from someone observing his security arrangements up close. Those statements from 2015 and 2016 have been pulled into the current viral content cycle and presented as though they represent fresh, urgent new warnings rather than decade-old interview comments made in a completely different context. That decontextualization is one of the most dishonest elements of how this wave of content has been constructed. Then there is the January 2025 podcast appearance that some creators are now using as the anchor for their ominous death warning narrative. In that appearance, Ivanka talked about hating the darkness of politics and the toll it takes on everyone who gets too close. She explained her decision to stay largely removed from her father's second administration as a deliberate choice to protect her mental health, her marriage, and most importantly, her children from the toxicity she experienced firsthand during his first term. That is a genuinely revealing statement about where she has arrived after years of deep involvement, followed by deliberate withdrawal. It tells you something real about her relationship with power and with her father's world. What it does not contain anywhere is a warning about his physical safety, a prediction of danger, or a suggestion that she has information about threats she is trying to communicate obliquely. The word darkness is being treated as though it were a coded message about assassination, rather than a straightforward description of the emotional environment that high-stakes political combat creates. Ivanka's pattern of engagement with her father's public life is important context for understanding all of these statements accurately. She stays silent and absent from day-to-day political battles for extended stretches. She does not appear at rallies or campaign events. She does not post regularly about his policies or his ongoing legal fights. She maintains deliberate distance, which she has explained publicly as a personal choice rooted in protecting her family and her own well-being. Then at moments of genuine crisis, genuine physical danger, or genuine emotional significance that feels too large to let pass without acknowledgement, she surfaces briefly to express love and concern, condemn violence, thank the people who protect her father, and communicate that she is praying for his safety. Then she withdraws again. That pattern is the behavior of someone who has made a clear decision about the role she wants to play. A loving and supportive role that exists primarily in private, with occasional public moments of genuine emotional expression at times too significant to stay silent through. Not the behavior of someone building toward a dramatic public warning or preparing to drop a bombshell revelation about imminent danger. Understanding why this kind of manufactured content keeps finding massive audiences is important for anyone who wants to be genuinely informed rather than just emotionally stimulated. The viral death warning machine works because it combines real emotional stakes with manufactured dramatic framing, in a ratio carefully calibrated to feel credible while delivering the intensity that drives engagement. Ivanka is a figure that enormous numbers of people are deeply invested in for different reasons. Her supporters see her as a moderating influence on her father and a window into a more human side of him. Her critics see her as complicit in everything he represents while maintaining a carefully curated image of detachment. Both audiences will click on content that promises new information about where she really stands and what she really knows. Content creators understand that investment and exploit it deliberately. The only protection against that exploitation is clear-eyed examination of what was actually said versus what the headline claims was said. And the gap in this case is enormous. The real story is worth telling on its own terms. Ivanka's fear for her father's safety is real and documented. The assassination attempt was real and caught on live video watched by millions. Her grief about her mother and the way that grief colored the language she used after the shooting was real and visible in everything she posted. Her discomfort with the darkness of politics and her stated determination to protect her children from it is real and has been consistent across multiple interviews over more than 2 years. Every piece of genuine emotional content that gets fed into these viral videos is authentic and verifiable. And that authenticity is precisely what makes the manufactured narrative constructed on top of it so effective and so difficult to debunk cleanly. You cannot simply say the whole thing is made up when the foundation of real statements and real events is sitting right there in plain view. The creator can point to it as proof that the content is grounded in something real. What gets added on top of that genuine foundation is where the dishonesty lives. In the speculative narration that transforms Ivanka's general expressions of fear and grief into specific warnings about imminent death. In the titles that claim she has issued a verified new statement when the actual videos are built from material she said months or years ago in completely different contexts. In the framing that treats her withdrawal from active politics as a dramatic act of abandonment or alarm rather than as the personal lifestyle choice she has explained clearly and repeatedly in her own words. The gap between the real Ivanka statements and the viral content claiming to represent them accurately is not a minor distortion that reasonable people might disagree about. It is a wholesale substitution of what she actually said and meant with a completely different and more dramatic narrative that serves the financial interests of content creators rather than the informational interests of the audiences consuming it. So here is the bottom line. Ivanka has spoken publicly and with genuine emotion about fearing for Trump's safety at multiple points over the past several years. Most significantly and most powerfully in the immediate aftermath of the Butler assassination attempt, when she posted that she believed her late mother was watching over her father during the shooting, and said she was praying for the safety of everyone her mother left behind. Language that came from a real and documented place of terror and grief that any honest account of the story has to acknowledge and respect. She has described politics as dark and toxic. She has said she carries ongoing worry about her father's security situation. She has explained her decision to stay largely out of his political battles as a choice to protect herself and her children from the damage that world does to the people closest to it. And she has surfaced at moments of genuine crisis to express love and concern before withdrawing again into the private supporting role she has clearly chosen for this chapter of her life. All of that is real, documented, and worth understanding clearly and accurately. What is not real, not documented, and not supported by anything she has actually said in any verified public statement is the viral content packaging it all as a fresh death warning or a specific prediction of imminent danger. Those headlines and those thumbnails are manufactured commentary built from reshuffled old quotes, stripped context, and speculative narration designed to generate clicks and watch time rather than to inform anyone accurately about anything that is genuinely happening. The real story is worth telling on its own terms. And the real story is this: a daughter who lost her mother, who then watched her father nearly get assassinated on live television, who carries ongoing fear about his safety, who has chosen to protect herself and her children from the darkness of politics, and who occasionally surfaces at moments of genuine crisis to express love and concern before returning to the private life she has built. That is the truth. That is what actually happened. That is what Ivanka actually said. And it deserves to be understood without the manufactured drama that content creators have wrapped around it to make you click.